Dear audience, welcome you all to our CAMS ebook presentation. Today we are going to record Chapter 1, Audio 1. Let's start. The name of the chapter is Chapter 1, Risk and Methods of Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing. Before going to start, special instructions. Keep the CAMS reading materials in front of you while listening this ebook to get best outcome from the audiobook or this ebook. Now listen and have a focus on the CAMS 6th edition reading materials. What is money laundering? Money laundering involves taking criminal proceeds and disguising their illegal sources in order to use the funds to perform legal or illegal activities. Simply put, money laundering is the process. Simply put, money laundering is the process of making dirty money look clean. When a criminal activity generates substantial profit, the individual or group involved must find a way to use the funds without drawing attention to the underlying activity or persons involved in generating such profits. Criminals achieve this goal by disguising the source of funds, changing the form, or moving the money to a place where it is less likely to attract attention. Criminals' activities that lead to money laundering can include illegal arms sales, narcotics trafficking, contraband smuggling, and other activities related to organized crime. Embezzlement, insider trading, bribery, and computer fraud schemes. Formed in 1989, the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) is an intergovernmental body comprising the group of 7 industrialized nations to set standards and foster international actions against money laundering. One of FATF's early accomplishments was to dispel the notion that money laundering is only about cash transactions. Though several money laundering typologies exercise, FATF demonstrated that money laundering can be achieved through virtually every medium: financial institutions or businesses. The United Nations 2000 Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, also known as the Palermo Convention, defines money laundering as the conversion or transfer of property, knowing it is derived from a criminal offense, for the purpose of concealing or disguising its illicit origin, or of assessing any person who is involved in the commission of the crime to evade the legal consequences of his or her action. The concealment or disguise of the true nature, source, location, disposition, movement, rights with respect to or ownership of property, knowing that it is derived from a criminal offense. the acquisition, possession, or use of property, knowing at the time of its receipt that it was derived from criminal offences or from participation in a crime. An important prerequisite in the definition of money laundering is knowledge. In all three of the bullet points mentioned above, we see the phrase knowing that it is derived from a criminal offences, and a broad interpretation of knowing is generally applied. In fact, FATF's 40 recommendation on money laundering and terrorist financing and the fourth European Union directive on the prevention of the use of the financial systems for the purpose of money laundering and terrorist financing state that the intent and knowledge required to prove the offense of money laundering includes the concept that such a mental state may be inferred from objective factual circumstances. A number of jurisdictions also use the legal principles of blindness, willful blindness in money laundering cases to prove knowledge. Courts defined willful blindness as the deliberate avoidance of knowledge of the facts or purposeful indifference, and have held that willful blindness is the equivalent of actual knowledge of the illegal source of funds or of the intention of a customer in a money laundering transactions. After the events of September 11, 2001, in October 2001, FATF expanded its mandate to cover the financing of terrorism. Both terrorists and money launderers may use the same method to move their money in ways to avoid detection, such as structuring payments, to avoid reporting and use of underground banking or value transfer system such as Hawala, Hundi, Fee, However, whereas funds destined for money laundering are derived from criminal activities such as drug trafficking and fraud, terrorist financing may include funds from perfectly legitimate sources. Concealment of funds used for terrorism is primarily designed to hide the purpose for which these funds are used, rather than their sources. Terrorist funds may be used for operating expenses, including paying for food, transportations, and rent, as well as for the actual materials support of terrorist act. Terrorists, similar to criminal enterprises, covet the secrecy of transactions regarding their destination and purpose. In February 2012, FATF modified its initial list of recommendations and notes into a new list of 40 recommendations, which include a new recommendation addressing ways to prevent, suppress, and disrupt the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. So, dear audience, thank you for all. Today we will conclude it. Our suggestion is you will listen this audio, this ebook again and again by keeping open the CAMS book or reading materials in front of you, so that you will hear and you will see. It will have an excellent effect on your brain to catch the words and to understand the event related to it. So thank you for all, and for your patient sharing, and welcome you all to our next audio, CAMS ebook lecture 2 part 2.